Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're getting really specific, digging into a piece of hardware that, well, it often just sits there unseen doing critical work. We're looking at the Shinybow SB-2809. It's a one-in-1-out S-video BNC audio booster.
And our mission here is sort of two parts. First, understand the tech. How does this little box push signal so far? And second, maybe even more importantly for some folks, why does its TAA compliant status matter so much?
Right, because the core problem it solves, getting older analog video signals across really long distances, that's still surprisingly critical in a lot of places. We're talking about a $168 device here. Okay, let's unpack the device itself first. Our sources say it's a pretty straightforward amplifier, S-video or composite video, plus stereo audio, one input, one output. But, I have to ask, we live in an HDMI world, DisplayPort, fiber. Why are we still focused on gear with BNC connectors and S-video?
That's a totally fair question. The answer really comes down to legacy infrastructure.
Yeah.
Think about sprawling university campuses, maybe older government buildings, military bases, even some retail chains.
Yeah.
They might have miles and miles of perfectly good coaxial cable already in the walls, replacing all that. Hugely expensive. So this booster, it keeps those systems running. It provides that signal integrity where a full digital upgrade just isn't practical.
Okay, that makes sense. And you mentioned signal integrity. The specs talk about adjustable amplification, right? From plus 0 dB up to plus 6 dB.
Yeah.
What does that fine-tuning actually achieve? Why not just crank it up?
Well, you don't want to just blast the signal. Too much gain can introduce noise, distortion. Think of it like turning up an old stereo too loud until the speakers crackle. That adjustable gain and the fact that it's separate for video and audio lets you dial it in just right. You boost it enough to overcome the loss from a long cable run, but not so much that the picture gets fuzzy or the audio distorts. Clean signal is key.
And getting that clean signal means it can travel. What did the specs say? Over 1,000 feet.
Yeah, approximately 1,000 feet, maybe even more, depending on the cable quality.
That's a massive distance for analog.
Yeah.
And it relies on those sturdy BNC connectors, the locking ones. So you can see why it's listed for classrooms, training rooms, big conference halls, places with long cable runs.
Exactly. It's engineered for that physical distance reliability. But like we hinted at, in big organizations, reliability isn't just about the signal path. It's also about, well, compliance. So let's shift gears a bit and talk about that TAA status.
Right. TAA compliant. That sounds like government procurement language.
Yeah.
For listeners who aren't deep in that world, what does TAA actually mean for this product?
Yeah, TAA is the Trade Agreements Act. Basically, it mandates that for U.S. government procurement, the product has to be made or substantially transformed is the term, either in the U.S. or in a designated friendly country. So if you're selling to the federal government, military, or even many large institutions that follow GSA schedules, if your product isn't TAA compliant, your bid doesn't even get considered. It's a gatekeeper.
Ah, okay. So it's a non-starter without it in those contexts. That makes the vendor relationship suddenly seem really important. The source mentions HDTV as a platinum authorized reseller, and there's a CEO to CEO relationship with Shinybow going back to 2002. Why does that matter to the person buying this $168 booster?
It matters a lot, actually. That long-standing relationship, that platinum status, it provides assurance. HDTV Supply explicitly guarantees that only TAA-compliant versions of this product are shipped when needed for those contracts. It removes a huge headache and risk for the buyer. Plus, that partnership unlocks other benefits. You get the official 3-year Shinybow warranty, not some third-party thing. And this is a big one. Free lifetime tech support based in the U.S. over the phone.
Lifetime support on a sub-$200 piece of hardware. That's pretty impressive, especially, like you said, for these legacy systems that might need to keep running for years, maybe even a decade or more.
Right.
So that support adds way more value than just the sticker price suggests. The unit itself only weighs, what, 0.7 pounds? But the support adds significant weight.
That's exactly it. You're not just buying the box. You're buying a compliant solution with long-term backup for, potentially critical infrastructure.
Okay, so that pretty much wraps up our deep dive on the Shinybow SB-2809. Seems like there are two key things to take away here. First, the tech itself. It's a specialized tool that solves the real problem of sending older video standards reliably over very long distances, like 1,000 feet plus.
And second, the business side. Things like TAA compliance and the strength of that reseller partnership aren't just nice-to-haves. In many professional contexts, they are absolutely essential for a successful deployment.
Right. Compliance and support can be just as important as the hardware specs.
Definitely. And maybe a final thought for you to consider. Think about how often a massive, maybe multi-million-dollar project relies completely on these small, seemingly simple, but highly specialized components. And not just the component, but the paperwork, the compliance, the guarantees that come with it through specific partnerships. It really shows that even for a basic booster, the details of the supply chain can make or break the entire installation.